Hey guys, welcome back. This video will be all about installing the front. So the forks, the brake calipers, the wheels, put them everything in the right height, and also make sure that everything is torqued in the right spec. So to start, basically you apply these back in the yoke. And here, put them through. You see the bolts are still loose. Then to set these in 30 millimeters, you need a ruler like this. As you can see, it's 30. And then you need a point of reference. What I do is, I take the inside. You could take the outside. Take the inside because it's easy to see. And you'll see. Voila, that I have to play with it until it's correct. So basically, I will turn it a bit. Also, I'll make sure that the arrows here are on the inside. Yes. So that's just for aesthetic reasons. So I'll move it a bit. It's difficult to hold with the camera. As you can see, I need to play. And then I have to make sure that I touch it. And I move like this. And it has to scratch it, and then I'm okay. Got him. Turn him again. Wow. God damn it. Yeah, it's perfectly. It has to be very correct, otherwise your bike will not be stable. A little bit more. Okay. Yes, it's perfect. Then you make sure the top bolt is set. You have to crack them at 20 Newton, so don't overreact, just make sure they are snug, and then we'll torque them later. Same with the bottom ones after. Take the top one. And then you remeasure. Perfect. And then the bottom one. Okay, so the wheel, always make sure that you look to the arrow on the tire. And the arrow should go in the direction. Here is the arrow, points this way, that's correct. Make sure that's good, because the tire will not be as stable if you don't. You have two spacers, and they will fit here. Here's the wheel bearing, and that's it here. They help align the wheel put them in place. They will fall out probably, but in any case, this one plays back. So you always have to apply the wheel first and then the calipers, which is actually annoying because you can't change the wheel without removing the calipers, which I think it's not perfect engineering, but it's the way it is. We deal with it. What also helps, if you have like, you don't really find it, is you put a little bit of grease here and then it will stay. I don't do it because grease will attract dirt, but a little bit of grease, it's not really a big issue. And then the trick is to put your foot under the tire. There you go. Take the axle and then you ride the tire, or the wheel actually, on your foot. It helps lifting it. Here we go. Same on the other side. Voila. You should be able to turn in the axle by hand. Never use tools in the beginning. If it doesn't go, get it out again, put it back, hand force. There should not be any resistance, only metal on metal. You will wear out the thread, and that's a new fork, so take it easy. Once you have it, you can release it, and then, very important, you apply, before you put it snug, first you apply the brake calipers. Just make sure. Okay, I'm pushing with the pads on the rotor. Here we go. Voila, just against it. Take the other side. Same here, make sure you get the thread with your fingers and not with a tool. Once it's in there, feel free to use the tool. This helps aligning it. Everything is now just seated home, as I say it. You know? The bolts are just in its position, they're not tight. Why? You have to align everything. everything has to be aligned and get stuck evenly. If you get now the bearing, for instance, it's snug, and this one is snug, it starts, you know, fighting. You should just work from top to bottom. Yeah, everything attached. It's very important. You have to think, you steer with this. Yeah, there's a lot of when you start moving, it has to be perfectly aligned, or you're gonna get accidents. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna get vibrations or whatever, and that's not good. Worst case, you even get bad braking. You know, or brakes that starts slipping because of it. That's already better. So first, I'm gonna get the wheel just tight. That's it. I'm gonna verify everything is honed. Now, so this one is okay. Now we're gonna set the bearing, right? Before I forget. This one as well, tight. Not too. So this one should be loose, fairly loose, just hand tight. This one should also be loose. Okay. So now we're gonna put a little bit more of tension here. Not too much, few millimeters. Okay. So now I'm gonna try and lift the bike on the forks. Okay. Not a lot, just a little bit of force. Turn it a bit. Put it all the way down. Lift it. What you don't want is this one going up too much. That means there's also a lot of tension, but also you don't want that you can move this. If you put the force on the forks like this, then the whole bike should move. If the forks move first and then the bike, then you have to put a lot of tension. If you can't turn it easily, then you have to put less tension. So you have to find the balance. In the manual they say 40, this one is 40 Newton, but I don't have really the tool for that. So it's the old-fashioned way, try and feel it. I think it's maybe a little bit too much. A little bit back. Okay. That's all right. Then you put the top one and you hammer it home. Not too much, just home. We try again. Left to right. Lift it. Okay. Voila. Now we go for the next one. This one is 90 Newton meter. Yeah, that's a lot. What I always do is, to protect the nut, which is already a little bit damaged, I take a small rag and then you put it on there. It's a 38 millimeter. And you set your torque wrench. I'm just gonna set it on 70. Because 90, I think it's a lot. I'm gonna work in steps. So I'm at 66 plus 4 is 70. So you're gonna block the wheel like this, and you're gonna pull towards you. One click. I say it's a lot. Just gonna use something to protect my, as you can see, if it's broken down, you try again. Just gonna protect my knees. Just take some clothing or something, put it over the wheel. Voilà. Always, even if they give specs, be careful because they can make a mistake. At 70, and it looks fairly okay for me. Just gonna check everything now. Still moving. It's fairly okay. I'm gonna go next step. So what I always do is older. If you have older nuts and bolts, you take a little bit less, like 2. So now it's 88. Because you always have wear on the threads, and it's just a good thing to do. Again, let's force it. Here we go. Okay, so the next step, as you can see, this is a few days later. The steering is applied, and you will see this in the coming videos how I did this. And then you can see the bike is off the jack as well, and you know everything is already going in the next phase. But I will come back on this on the front for a minute because there's one important step now. So as you could see, the steering nut here is fixed. This one is fixed. The length is okay. Everything is set and installed. The calipers, the rotors, the wheel, the hoses, the yokes are ready. So basically now I have to force the bike and use the suspension a few times. Pretty rough, push it on the ground, and then so it can set itself, you know, millimeters or tenths of millimeters, it will set itself a little bit better. And then from there on I can make sure that everything is good, and then I will torque the other bolts. So let's crack on. Just to take in consideration, these bottom yoke is still loose, the calipers are also loose, the bolts are just set home. And then the wheel is also, you know, it's not torqued, but it's, you know, a little bit loose. And then these as well, these counter nuts, so the whole thing can play a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna apply the brake when I do this. Okay, so basically you push the brake and you use the fork. And also try to get out the brake. Voila. So again, you ride and you move, and you just let it sink in. You should think about that if the steering, your ball head should move a bit, then something's off. It shouldn't. So I'm pretty sure everything is okay. Voila. And now we're gonna torque it from top to bottom. This one is 20 Newton meters. So what it actually means, Newton is the strength, the power, the force you push onto something. It's what pushes, like gravity. And meter, the Newton meter, is the power you do on an axle. You push on an axle, okay, like this. And then you get Newton meters. It's just a little bit of theory. I think I understand it. I hope I explain well. So 20. That's 20. I'm gonna go a little bit less, 19.6. Now you have to keep on going up and down a few times until it's from the moment you touch it clicks. It's normal. That's okay. Okay. The other side. Perfect. In the manual, they state that on the SE model, this one, it should be 55 Newton meters. And I've done this a few years ago with the result that the heads of these bolts are with an Allen key, and I just destroyed it. The material is very soft. They state you should change them every time you use them. So every time you have to remove the wheel for new tires, then yeah, you have to use new bolts, and they're like 60 euro for 4. I think it's a rip-off, but I understand because it's very soft metal. I think it has something to do that they are stretch heads, or with the heat transfer and the vibrations, they use a certain metal. But I do not change them every time. I keep track of them, and when they are yeah, When I feel they start to wear out, then I change it. Okay, so these are not 55 but 35 Newton. So 35, 38 it says, and then -3. Voila. Alright, so the next one is this one, and that's 90. Okay. Here, 92, 90. Done. And these are also, I think they are 9 Newton meter. It's not a lot. I just use a wrench, normal hands, and these are just to lock, give extra tension here, so the axle is extra protected. You don't want your axle coming loose. It's a redundant safety system. Voila. Give him a last hit. Now as a final, you use some brake cleaner, you spray here, and you see brake cleaner coming out, and you turn, yeah, and you use a rag. On the other side. Voila. And that's it. Voila. As you can see, guys, perfectly done. I have to be aware of that one. Next time I'll change it because it was a bit odd. In the end, you really have to keep track of these bolts. If you feel this head start to wear out, same with these, just buy a new one. You'll be in a world of pain if you don't. In the end, it's just gonna get stuck, and yeah, there's only grinding left. All right, so that's it. That's how you install the front. and also how you torque it. It's very important. Keep in mind older bikes get a few tenths of the maximum spec. Always be sure that your tools are okay, use the right heads, and take your time. One click and it's done, okay? Especially here, this one, always be sure this is a set. There's no play, it's not too tough. The lock nut and the counter nut is set, and then this one. Here as well, you know, take your time, and see you guys next time. Thank you.